How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. I want to talk today about how much Bitcoin is enough. What does it really mean? What will it mean to own zero point 0.1 Bitcoin, 0.25 Bitcoin, 1 Bitcoin, 10 Bitcoin, 100 Bitcoin? What will that mean at different points in the future? Now, to be clear, everyone's journey is different. Everyone has different goals. Everyone has different income. Everyone has different investable assets. So this isn't right for everyone, but this is just kind of my thought process behind it. This is one of those videos that's not like there's a bunch of news or super instructional stuff. This is just one of those things that's fun to think about. That I think, it can be useful, but it's really just a fun thought process. I've done videos before on how to retire on Bitcoin, and so much comes down to your assumptions. Do you think Bitcoin's going to $1 million? Do you think it's going to be 5 million? Do you think it's going to be 100,000? Do you think we're going to crash down to zero? Obviously, that changes the outlook, but this is a fun one today. If you don't mind, hit subscribe. Also, turn on that bell notification underneath the video. There are a couple links as well underneath the video to Margex, for example, where you can trade cryptocurrency. You can trade Bitcoin if you want. It's powered by TradingView, so you can do all your charting right here. And you can figure out what is right for you, what kind of strategy is right for you. You can set it up in a few minutes, and there's no KYC, which is awesome if you don't want to give out all your personal information. So definitely check this out underneath the video. I also want to talk about Dynex, but we'll talk more about that later. That's a really interesting crypto that I'm paying attention to that's outside of Bitcoin land. But I wanted to put together a spreadsheet. It's kind of interesting, right? To think about how much Bitcoin will be worth in the future. And of course, it could be worth $50,000. We were just at $50,000 the other day. Could be worth $100,000 during the next market cycle. It could be worth $250,000 a couple of cycles from now, or this cycle, depending on how bullish you are. You might think that's going to hit $500,000 or $1 million overall. So I want to go through these different assumptions. Let's take a look at how much money would you have if you had 0 Bitcoin. Obviously, you're going to have $0. But compare that versus a quarter of a Bitcoin, 1 Bitcoin, 10 Bitcoin. I'm not saying everyone's here. I'm not saying that you're necessarily going to ever get to 100 Bitcoin. That's crazy. That's hard for anyone that's not a multi-millionaire, tens of millions of dollars to get there. But what I am saying is, if you can get up to a quarter Bitcoin, maybe that's life-changing one day. Maybe half a Bitcoin's life-changing. So let's walk through it. Of course, you can let me know if you have any video ideas for something similar to this in the description, but let's get through 0. So if you have 0 Bitcoin, you're probably not watching this video. Maybe you're watching this video and you have 0 Bitcoin. Maybe you're just trying to learn about it. Maybe you haven't pulled the trigger. But most people that are on this channel have invested in Bitcoin at this point. A lot of people like it for a variety of reasons. It's inconfiscatable. It is set in stone what the supply is. You can send it across the world for pennies depending on how you do it. There are a lot of reasons to like Bitcoin, but there are billions of people, billions and billions and billions of people that don't have any Bitcoin right now. $50,000 Bitcoin, maybe people don't feel FOMO. $1,000 Bitcoin, $100,000 Bitcoin, there's probably going to be some FOMO, and there's going to be a lot of advertising as Bitcoin goes up in price. There's more and more advertising, which means more and more people have it thrown in their face that they missed out on Bitcoin, and maybe you want to buy Bitcoin now. At $250,000, I think it's the same thing. People are going to say, you could buy a house with a Bitcoin? That's nuts. At $500,000, people are going to say, is it going to $1 million? Then $1 million, they're going to say, wow, this is nuts. I can't believe you have any Bitcoin. I saw it, but I didn't do anything. At this point, a lot of people have heard about Bitcoin, but still, we have many more people that have heard about it that haven't bought it than people that have bought it. Okay, so what if you could get a quarter of a Bitcoin? And I realize not everyone has a quarter of a Bitcoin now. If you're just starting to get into crypto, maybe this is a good goal for you. Right now, it's worth, at today's prices, a little under $11,000. Obviously, if it goes up to $50,000 and you bought $11,000 worth, it's probably not life-changing gains there, that $1,500 that you make. But you do have an asset that will probably appreciate quite well. If it goes up to $100,000, maybe that $12,000 is life-changing money, that gain that you had there. Either way, though, $25,000 in an asset, depending on how old you are, that can grow pretty quickly. Because, again, if we go up to $250,000, and if it goes up to $500,000 or $1 million, these are some life-changing numbers for some people. Maybe not life-changing like you can retire on $62,000, but maybe that helps you set up a business. Maybe that buys you a new car. Maybe that helps you put a down payment on a house and you get out of the rat race of renting. There are a lot of different ways that this can help you. Obviously, if you have half a Bitcoin and it appreciates, that's going to be really good for you, just because you'll make more money. $50,000, yeah, you're going to make a couple $1,000s in gains from here. But again, that the gain itself isn't really life-changing at that point. At $100,000 though, with half a Bitcoin, you have 50 grand. That is life-changing money to a lot of people. Even the gains on that like $28,000 that you'd make from buying it right now, for a lot of people, that's life-changing money. Now, if you're watching this video, maybe that's not life-changing money to you, but at $250,000, like, people are going to be jealous of you. I mean, even here at 100,000, if you own a quarter of a Bitcoin or half a Bitcoin, and the price starts to get up into the hundreds of thousands of dollars range, like, you want to be careful about who you're telling that you bought Bitcoin. Like, they'll either ask you for money maybe, or in the wrong circumstance, try to take it from you or do all kinds of things. So just be careful. People will be jealous of you if you have half a Bitcoin. Like, no matter what price you bought it at, they're going to think you are lucky. Some people will think you're lucky, not that you're a genius or anything like that, or that you stuck through like all these massive exchange blowups and the bear markets and stuff. People will just say, oh yeah, well, I should have bought Bitcoin, but I didn't have the money. That's what they'll say. But really, they're spending it on partying or spending it on fancy food that they couldn't afford, instead of investing like you and I. After it hits $500,000, like, this is not just life-changing money to a lot of people. This is like, okay, this is retirement money. $250,000, not that you can retire on $250,000, but like, even if you just were to sell that, even if you didn't want to keep it in Bitcoin, but you sold it and put it in an S&P 500, 20 years from now, that's probably $1 million. $500,000, 10 years, and it's $1 million in just like a normal S&P 500 index fund. Okay, I know that we're talking about Bitcoin in this video, but I do want to talk to you about a new partner of the channel, Dynex. It's super interesting, and I've seen other cryptos like this blow up recently. It's decentralized computing. It's Dynex. It's super computing for everyone. Dynex brings the world's largest neuromorphic computer to solve your computational problems. The global network consists of more than 170,000 GPUs. If your infrastructure can't handle it, you want faster results, you want more accurate results, well, Dynex is the place to go. They have 26,000 jobs that were already successfully computed and completed on the Dynex network. You can see their Twitter right here with 70,000 followers, some that I follow as well. This provides the tools to solve societal challenges. And as I said, they've already done a ton of jobs already. Computing on Dynex is super simple. Just sign up to their marketplace at live.dynexcoin.org and start right away. Dynex is compatible with all major languages, including Python, PyTorch, Google, TensorFlow, IBM. And like, for me, I'm not a computer expert by any means, so all you have to do is put this on the marketplace, and then Dynex experts will help you do the work. And this can be done for a fraction of the cost of traditional supercomputers. I would pay attention to this. This is a partner of the channel. I really like them. I like what they're doing. Right now, their token is about $58 million in market cap. You can go find out more information. I'll put it underneath the video. Appreciate Dynex for being a partner of the channel and sponsoring this segment. But if you get into the 1 Bitcoin range, that is a huge goal for a lot of people. If you get there, you could make some really crazy money. I mean, we're talking up to $1 million, obviously, if Bitcoin hits $1 million. This is the whole coiner status. You've seen the memes where people are like, oh, I'm a Bitcoiner. And you have your 1 Bitcoin and you're like, you have a crappy house behind you. And then that's like 5 years ago. Now you have like a decent house. And then like in 2030, you say that you have like the people around you saying, oh, he's a Bitcoiner. And you're like in a freaking castle and stuff like that. Like, people that have a Bitcoin are going to be thought of as extremely wealthy. Like, the fact is, if Bitcoin hits $250,000, millionaires can't buy a full Bitcoin. Many of them can't. Most people that are millionaires aren't super liquid. Like, if they just have $1 million, like on the dot, or $2 million, maybe they all of a sudden want to move a quarter of their assets over to Bitcoin, but I don't see that happening either. They might put like a couple percent allocation, most normal people, unless they get super orange pilled. But like, at that point, a millionaire probably can't afford a full Bitcoin. Maybe even 100,000. That would be tough for a lot of millionaires to afford a full Bitcoin. Now, 3 is a whole different story. Like, 3 is impossible for most of the world right now. Maybe if you dollar cost average and you have a good paying job and you're here for years, maybe you can get to 3. But the people that have 3, are pretty wealthy. I mean, even if you just think if Bitcoin's going to hit 100,000, which isn't crazy, it's like 1.4x from the last all-time high. They're going to have $300,000. You could buy a house in cash. You could buy a bunch of rental properties and put 20% down, 25% down. If we go past that, well, you're going to have maybe millions of dollars in Bitcoin. If you have 10 Bitcoin, like, I would keep it to yourself. Like, don't tell people that you have 10 Bitcoin, because even at just $100,000, you have $1 million. You have $1 million in Bitcoin. If it goes up more, like, think about that. If Bitcoin's $100,000 and all of a sudden it goes up to like $108,000 within a week or something, you made $80,000 in appreciation, like, real quickly. So, like, these people are ultra rich. I don't even have to really talk about this, because there are people in this audience that have 10 Bitcoin, that have 50 Bitcoin, 100 Bitcoin, 1,000 Bitcoin, maybe even 10,000 Bitcoin. There are people that watch that have that amount of Bitcoin. I know it sounds crazy, but if you have this amount, or if you have 100 Bitcoin, like, you're set up really well. If you have 100 Bitcoin, you can probably do pretty much anything you want, even if you have 10 Bitcoin. Like, anyone that has 10 Bitcoin now is probably super wealthy. They're probably millionaires. But in the next bull cycle, you can pretty much do whatever you want in life. It's just a question of, like, how you want to do it. If you have $1 million, a couple $1 million, like, you can do a lot of things. You just can't do all the things. And maybe, like, you can't buy a private jet, but maybe you can fly in a private jet or fly first class. Like, it just comes down to how well you want to live life, not what you want to do at that point. So if you have that kind of money, fantastic. That's great. Keep it to yourself. Be very proud of yourself, because you can have life-changing money. And if you don't have a quarter of a Bitcoin, if you don't have 0.5 Bitcoin, like, just keep on trying to stack. I'm not telling you to do anything. You don't have to buy Bitcoin. I'm not trying to pump my own bags. My audience won't buy enough Bitcoin to really change Bitcoin's price. But if you have a goal, like, try to figure out ways to buy more Bitcoin. If you're making $50,000 a year right now, and you have, let's say, $5,000 a year to invest in Bitcoin, if you make another $5,000, you can double the amount of Bitcoin you can buy each year. Like, it's all just icing on top. If you're someone that doesn't have a ton of money that you can put into investable assets, just know anything you make extra, if you do an extra job, or if you somehow get a raise, work a second job, like, all that can be investable, which is the awesome thing. Let me know your thoughts on all this underneath the video. Again, you can check out Dynex as well underneath the video. Special thanks to them, and I'll see you in the next one.